Welcome to a special edition, ladies and gentlemen, celebrating women. It is Women's Month, so you know we got to do something special for all our ladies from Cape all the way to Cairo. Africa shall celebrate women the entire month of August and beyond. So today, we decided to take on a different angle as we speak about the women that are prominent in society. I'm joined by three amazing musketeers. Is that okay? Sounds good. Three amazing revolutionaries, activists, business, and motivational speakers. Let me start welcoming you. My sister, you lead an organization called Dukes on Fleek. Yes. Tandy is joining me as my guest today. And I have Amina, who is an activist. Social media manager. Founder of
Wilhelmina Media.
Oh, okay, fantastic. And Teddy Singh. You also in the space as well for motivational speaking.
Yes.
You do a lot of business as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
So I think there's an interesting conversation to have where in 2019 we witnessed a strong change in our cabinet where a lot of young female decision makers and policy makers have entered the space.
Definitely.
So I think the fight for emancipation of women is justified. Not that it's over, but I think at this point we can celebrate even with what you're doing. Let's talk about Dukes on Fleek.
Well, Duke on Fleek is a women's movement, strictly women's movement, and all we are about dismissing the pull me down syndrome amongst women. And I'm sure the ladies will agree, it is quite a big issue amongst women.
Yes.
We pull each other down, workplaces, pull each other down, everywhere.
Yeah, so what she's wearing? Oh my goodness.
Exactly.
There she is.
Exactly. And we find then again a situation where a lot of women have low self-esteem out there.
Yes.
And they get to positions where they're now depressed, which is something that as a movement we feel is not really addressed by government. And we're trying to kind of say it's very important that our government actually goes out there full force and talk about depression, because it's issues like what we stand for, which is this pull me down syndrome that we're trying to dismiss, that lead to this depression that is not necessarily addressed or is taken as a serious issue in society. And we're saying we're up in arms and we literally want to fight that.
So how does the Duke help to mobilize that message? Because I know the Duke took off when Mama Winnie passed away, may her soul rest in peace. But there was a big Duke movement, do you remember?
Yeah. Well, not at all. Funny enough, we started 2016, that was before Mama passed on. And we started Duke on Fleek as a market. All we wanted women to support each other. Being you're selling Tupperware or you're selling accessories, and we were just inviting other women to come and actually support other women. And out of that, we then decided that it looks like there's a need. Women are looking for platforms where they can sit and discuss issues that are affecting them. Like I said, your pull me down syndrome, your depression, any issue, or financial support and all. So we then formed the Duke on Fleek. But the reason why we then called it Duke on Fleek, I said, let's look around and look for a common thing or something that every woman can relate to. And for us, a Duke was one thing that you either wear it when you're going to a funeral or...
But you're not wearing it right now.
I know, because I had to take a break.
Can you imagine? I mean, I can imagine. On the day where you need to wear it the most, you don't have it on.
Somebody wears it every
I
other
wear
day. But that's the power of branding. You need to brand yourself.
Thank you. Especially when you're coming on, like you're on the takeoff with touch. It doesn't get better than today. But I mean, you've been active in the space as well. My sister Tandy spoke about depression, and I feel that it's something that women don't talk about. How do you mobilize the message for women to be, not to be subject of peer pressure or find themselves in relationships for the sake of survival? They stand out as strong leaders and entities to thrive in society.
Sure, I feel like as a young person in general, the odds are against us
Yeah.
in terms of like youth unemployment. Everything is like shutting down. So my messages in like sort of building is like what content that I try to put out there.
Yeah.
So if it means you'll find that like even if someone asks you a question on social media and you get back to them, like that changes them and that like allows them to do or like work towards something better.
Let's talk about the incident that took place a few days ago when Anele and Fred Joe got into a fight. As a woman, she posted her views that she's judging, and someone said, "Who are you to judge?" Miss SA, for instance, in that situation. You realize a lot of cyber attacks against women on social media are probably a result of you trying to express yourself, and some man feels the need is an opportunity to strike at you. Yeah. Does it mean in that situation you have to strike back in the same manner that he's attacking you?
Not at all. I feel like sometimes people do things because they want a reaction out of you. So the key is not to respond and give them that satisfaction.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Definitely. And you have to own your power. Because, I mean, doing that, it means you're actually giving away your power. And you're saying to yourself that I'm actually allowing you guys to.
I'm sitting with the three of you right now, and I'm admiring your space. It just dawned on me that none of you guys have weave on. You all came out in your natural hair. So that's just incredible on its own. Isn't it beautiful how being organic, who you are, the beauty of who you are right now? Like there's a huge movement, even with women just going bold.
It's really amazing. And the other day I shared a video and I said, if you were to walk in the street and you probably have your weave on and it was gonna fall, like it had to fall, what would be your reaction? Because some women feel embarrassed. They feel like, oh my word, my hair, And I was like, you know what? I wouldn't care, because you need to actually love yourself as you are. And this is just an extension of, beauty, but it's not necessary.
And I could be wrong, but most of my friends in business saying it's difficult for women to partner in corporate. Like you rather celebrate each other from a distance, but I haven't seen successful mergers. I said the other day, I had the pleasure to sit with Basi Kumalo and Kani, and I said, imagine if the two of you guys could form a giant media house. And there was this 2 seconds of no response, and I was like, oh, okay. Why is that so? When men, everywhere you go into center, look at those buildings, Irvin and Iverson, Grant Thornton and whatever. You see, these are mergers that in men it's common.
I mean, I think it also goes back to what she said, that, most women still look down on themselves and they don't really support each other. And it comes to what I formed. Like I have an entrepreneur puzzle platform. It's an online platform where I get, to profile speakers. And now I'm working with a lot of women because there's power in collaboration.
True.
And if women can realize that looking down on each other is just something that is so old and it's not necessary.
How do you use your platform to change the narrative?
So how I use my platform, what I do is that I target obviously people that are doing good for themselves, and those, of course, that are still developing themselves, and also building the confidence out of all of that. So I've got, I'm a master of a lot of things. My foundation, Real Talk with Ntabi Foundation. So it works with empowering and transforming. So we go around schools, helping with sanitary towels, bringing the confidence of this young girl.
Oh, that's amazing.
Because that's where it starts. I as an entrepreneur, you don't start being an entrepreneur. You don't start being a business person. It starts some way. So, I mean, I had a situation at some point where I didn't have those sanitary towels. I would be sitting in class and having to wait for each and everyone to get out and ask my friend to just check if my skirt is fine, because I was using a socks.
And at the same time, you have to be there academically
present. And you don't focus because what you're thinking about is that, okay, what's happening down there?
My goodness.
And it's very difficult. So I said to myself, as a sister to someone and as a sister to the nation, to our citizen, I'm not going to allow any other girl to go through that. That's why I'm supporting, what Trek for Mandela is doing, giving thumbs up to Tulima Donzela to going up the mountain, Kilimanjaro mountain, to get donations for such. So it's amazing. We're about bringing the confidence, and that's where it starts. And if they can be confident and start working together, because they laugh at each other.
And just to add on what you said, I feel like there is collaboration, but just not enough.
Right. It's
not like really heard of, but it does take place.
Taking from your point, isn't it interesting that we know the experience of poverty? We've been there somehow, or we connected to those distant relatives of ours who still live in such conditions. And using what we've been exposed to, our plight in life should be to ensure that they don't go through the same. I mean, I can imagine, not with the amount of unemployment in the country, the mood, the mental disposition, the level of despondency. There's a need for us to, women like yourself, to be more in the space of pushing the message of that raises some kind of beacon of hope in society.
Yeah, because I was going to add to what she was saying. I think for me, like as a movement, for an example, we just hosted about 10,000 ladies in Durban. And I just feel if women, because I see a lot of people copying what I do, instead of coming and saying, I'm a woman, and I would like to collaborate with you and host this event in Polokwane, where instead of Thandi being able alone to draw 10,000 women, is able now to draw 30,000 women.
I'll tell you what, we're going to partner with you. Soweto TV is going to come with you on your next event. When is it?
Yeah, we're having about 18 events coming next weekend.
Okay.
Oh, actually this weekend. We're having 18 events across the country.
18 events across the country?
Yep.
Look at you, girl.
Yeah.
What?
No, there's a huge need. Like I say, the problem is then you don't have a sister who comes and says, Tandi, can I collaborate with you? They literally go out there and start their own events, but they're so little now. They don't have as much impact. And I'm sitting and I'm like, if I could have a group of 10 women, we would literally fill up, I don't know, any stadium across the country.
We should do a podcast. Dukes on Fleek, hosted by you on THD, right? I mean, let's talk about Women's Day for you. How would you want to be celebrated?
So Women's Day for me, in a digital aspect, I know I help individuals on a day-to-day basis, but I thought to myself, how can I go and do it on a bigger scale? So I called in some friends, people that I know, and came together to make something called the Digital Architects of Change, which is taking place next month. So
Digital Architects of
Change, yes. So the whole aim is we're currently living in the fourth industrial revolution, but as young people, I feel like we're not really seeing the benefits of all of that. It's like everybody speaks of it as it's coming, but it's actually quite here. So we should be reaping the benefits of that.
How do you ensure that you benefit in the value chain?
So
that you're not just a spectator on the grandstand yelling fourth industrial revolution, but we have systems that we benefit in the economical value chain.
Exactly. I feel like it starts with understanding though. It's like we have to get with the program. It's happening now, so you kind of have to adapt to it or else it will be left behind. So in terms of social media, like influencing is becoming an occupation, but like people aren't really with it. So my whole aim is to get thought leaders, millennial influence, and entrepreneurs together and like share how they got about it. I've been like to a fair share of conferences myself, and it always starts with like a successful person that says, okay, this is how I started and the rest is history. But we want to know how, like from A to B, whether you were a taxi driver, whether, how it really started. So not like domain stories of like, this would happen. But like the in-depth of everything. Yeah.
To your point, right? You look at successful brands or companies in 4IR space. We haven't produced our very own Uber at that level. We haven't produced our very own Netflix at that level. And when we speak about the fourth industrial revolution, we come from a point of consuming. But none of us are out there to say, we created this monster that is disrupting Silicon Valley. So I think we need to put our thoughts to benchmarking ourselves with world existing entities and say, how do we create that? How do we? That's why we have THD. I looked at how Showmax and Netflix is operating. I said, why don't we create our own 100% local platform? And I feel with your movement as well, Dukes on Fleeks, there's some kind of expertise you can borrow from Amini's social media skills to amplify your program. So maybe from here there should be a conversation.
There's a collaboration going on somehow.
Right?
Motivational speakers.
Right? You need motivation.
Actually, right now, while I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, I need to cover you and the work that you do on the next issue of Entrepreneur Puzzle, because it's an online platform and I'm focusing it on local. And I'm inspired by what she's saying, because it's high time that we realize that as South Africans, we've got so much power, we've got so much that we can do. And our platform needs to work. And the online presence is important as well, because that's what I'm pushing. You think of entrepreneurs, you think of any other business person. they don't position themselves well because things are changing now.
Big
It's
time.
a matter of how are you growing out there.
Big time.
So
Big
I'm very
time.
excited.
So,
I'm loving this.
Partnership is inevitable.
Definitely.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's about flying the flag high. As South Africans, patriotism is on the rise, and I thank you, ladies, for joining me because from here, it's not just a conversation. You two at home, if you're part of this conversation, you can also join the movement. It's about time we get out. Chika Onyeni said it in his book, The Capitalistic Nigger. We have to move the mentality of consuming and ask ourselves, how do we start manufacturing, producing, and that's the only way we're going to win. So whatever happens in this partnership, I want 10%.
We can work something out.
Right? You have a media partner on board, so you guys work it out and we fly.
No, we're definitely going to do that.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you subscribe to all my sisters' programs, how you can be a part of it too. We're not going anywhere. We're still going to have an interesting show coming up next. I do have one of my adorable sister who I had the pleasure to see her performing live at the Soho House. I saw her performing in places like Chicago, LA. She's joining us in the building. She goes by the name of Lyra. Stay tuned.